Join me today for another episode of Deal or No Deal when I take you to the MLS to find properties that are being sold as is. Today, we're going to walk through an MLS listing and decide whether or not it is a deal and should we put in an offer, and if so, for how much? Last time we did a deal or no deal episode, we looked at a deal from the MLS, and I promised you that the next time we would look at some other ways to search for properties on the MLS. So that's where I want to start today. The first thing I want to introduce is that we can search on the MLS for specific things like how long have these homes been listed on the market? Have they had a price drop? What is their price per square foot? The last time we looked for deals, we looked at under median home price, and we found some, but it didn't seem like a super fruitful search for us. So today I want to introduce searching by keyword. So we're going to think, what kind of things would people put in a description of a listing on a house that would indicate to us that it has some sort of distress, some sort of reason that we would be able to build in equity to the house, to purchase it at a below market value price, be able to put in some work and raise the equity of that house. There's lots of options. I'm going to give you 5 examples. You can probably come up with some more on your own, but one of them would be TLC, sold as is, handyman special, sweat equity, or needs work. So anytime I see any of these phrases or words in a description on a house, I know that there is some distress either on the property, on the owner, or both. I just thought of another one like motivated seller, any of those sorts of things. And you can talk to a real estate agent and ask them to set up an automation so that anytime there's a listing on the MLS in your area that has some of these keywords, you will get notified, and they can do it like right away, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. You can set it up however you want. That's what I would recommend doing, is getting up some sort of automation set. So it's just coming to your email and you can look at them as they come. However, I'm going to show you what it might look like if you just go to the internet and you want to search for something like this. So I'm going to use redfin.com. There's a plethora of different websites you could use. So I'm going to type in Davis County because that is within my buy box. So I want to look at houses in Davis County. And I am going to filter these with the keyword. Oh, before I get to the keyword, I'm going to say house. So I'm just looking for single family houses. I'm personally not interested in townhouses, condos, or multifamily. If you are, you would change that search criteria. But we're going to go for house. And then I'm going to scroll down to where I could put in keyword. And I'm going to choose to do as is. And when I type that in, you can see that it goes down to 6 homes. So now I've got 6 potential homes that I can look at in Davis County. Today, we're going to pick this one in Bountiful for $607,000. So I'll go ahead and click on that. I just kind of want to familiarize myself with this listing, see what's going on with it. This house is rather large. So above 3,000 square feet, 4 beds, 3.5 baths. It's selling for above median home price in my market at this area. So this is kind of an upper end house. So if your buy box says that you only purchase houses that would be good for first time home buyers, you might move on to the next lead from this. Or if you want to only purchase houses that are going to sell for under median home price, you would just move on for this one. But let's say for the sake of today that this fits my buy box. I'm okay with this price point. I'm okay with this size of house. Let's look at the description they give us. It says, this is your chance. Property sold as is. Amazing home on amazing lot in amazing location. Finish it the way you want. Gain equity or profit. Previous owner couldn't complete work. Their loss, your gain. Construction on property incomplete. Seller is not completing any more work. List price reflects current condition. So I see from this description that there is some distress. The sellers couldn't finish the work. They had to stop in the middle of the work. The house, I'm guessing, is not move-in ready. So they're going to have they're not going to be able to sell it to like a retail buyer. They're going to be selling it to somebody who wants to fix it up. And I can see it's been listed for 82 days. So it's been on the market for quite a while. Built in 1965, 0.27 acres. It has 2 garage spaces. So I'm just kind of familiarizing myself with this property, what it looks like. Let's look through some of the pictures and see what we can see from here. It looks like we could help the curb appeal here. We've got a lot of trees in front of the house, which is kind of blocking the view there. A nice 2-story. This is interesting. It almost looks like there's 2 front doors. So I might want to double check that it's truly a single family and not like a duplex. Look on the inside. It looks to me like a lot of work has been done already. Drywall looks like it's been done. I can kind of see some patching. I can see in one of the pictures the ceiling has been textured already. It looks like the electrical work may have been done that needs to be done. These floors possibly can just be refinished. It looks to me like we've got real wood floors here. So maybe we can just refinish those. The windows are old, are aluminum windows here. Yeah, it looks like drywall's been done through the house. There is a door that needs to be put in. Looks like we have new tile and possibly new flooring in this bathroom. Looks like all the plumbing's been done in this area. Tiles done in one of the bathrooms. Okay, so it kind of seems to me from looking through these pictures that the behind the wall stuff in this house has been done. The plumbing, the electrical, I'm gonna guess are good. The demo's been done. We've even done the drywall. Some of the flooring has even been finished. See, we've got new flooring in here. So now we're to like kind of the cosmetic part of this house. It needs its trim, needs the trim on, needs the kitchen put back in. It looks like it has most of the new doors. So we're really down to cosmetic things in this house, and that is pretty doable. It does have a pool, which is not super common in my area, so I'm gonna want to keep that in mind as I'm comping this out. And the pool looks like it definitely needs some attention. The exterior looks like it's in good condition, not pretty, but it's in fine condition. So now that I feel like I've gotten to know this house a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and find my ARV, my after repair value for the house. And I'm not going to walk through that step by step with you today, but I will tell you that there's 6 criteria that I'm looking for in the comps. When I'm looking at other comparable properties to this one, there's 6 things that I want to make sure are similar or make sure that I hit. So the first one is distance. How far apart are these comparable properties? How far away are they from my subject property? The closer, the better. Preferably they're in the same neighborhood. And if I can't do the same neighborhood, I can go out a little bit further. With this particular property, I had to go out a mile in order to find enough other comparable properties. I really try to avoid ever going more than a mile unless I'm in a rural area. But even with going out a mile, I'm going to make sure that I don't cross major roadways or get into neighborhoods that are significantly nicer or less nice. So I just want to be aware of that as I'm looking at my distance from my subject property. Now, I also want to make sure my comparable properties are similar style. So if possible, I want these ones that I'm comparing it to also be 2-story houses, because mine is a 2-story house, and different types of houses are going to sell a little differently. The sold date, I want to be looking at houses that are sold. They have sold, so I know exactly what their sold price is, and they have sold recently. Preferably in the past 90 days. I ended up going out 180 days just because I didn't have enough comps in the 90 days to do it. And as I decide how far out to go on my sold, I'm going to keep in mind what my local housing market has been doing. Has it been staying pretty steady? Have prices been increasing? Have they been decreasing? And that just helps inform me about how much I want to go out. And if I do, what sort of other adjustments am I going to want to make? Year built is going to be important. If at all, I want to stay within 10 years of the year built of my subject properties. Ours was built in 1965. I went ahead and searched up to 1985, so up to 20 years newer. I know that in my market, houses before the mid 1980s are very similar, and then they start to change kind of after the mid 1980s. So I was okay with that. Square footage, preferably we stay within 10% of the square footage of our subject property. I ended up going out quite a bit further on this one just to be able to find something similar. But it turned out that once I increased my distance and my year built, I was able to find stuff that was very similar square footage. So that was good. And then lastly, number of beds and baths is something we want to pay attention to. They don't necessarily have to be identical, but a big point that you want to be careful of is the 3-bedroom and the 2-bathroom. So you don't want to compare something with less than 3 bedrooms to something with more than 3 bedrooms, or something less than 2 bathrooms with something more than 2 bathrooms, or 2 or more bathrooms. So that's just kind of like a cutoff, a boundary to be careful of. In my case, this house is 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. So if I can find a comparable property that's also 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, wonderful. But if it has one less, one more, it's not going to be a really big deal to me, because as long as they all have at least 3 bedrooms and at least 2 bathrooms. Okay, so once we have the criteria for our comps and we've looked at them, we can kind of determine what our ARV is, our after repair value. On this particular property, we are saying $750,000 is our ARV, our after repair value. And there's one comp I want to show you that is maybe our best comp for this one, because it was recently sold. From the date I'm recording this, it sold about 2 weeks ago. So very, very recent, very similar square footage. It's about 100 square feet more. It's got very similar bathrooms. It has an extra half bath, or an extra 3/4 bath when compared to our subject property. And it's got some more bedrooms, quite a few more bedrooms. It has 7 where ours has 4. So I'm definitely going to keep that in mind, just because it's such a drastic difference. Yeah, we'll just keep that in mind. Our garage space is the same. The style is the same. It is a newer build, 1981. So it's 16 years newer. Our acreage is similar. So we're looking pretty good here. But let's look at the pictures from this comp, so I have an idea of what level I want to update my house to. The biggest thing that stands out to me is they did a ton of exterior work on this house. They really modernized the exterior. So that's probably something I'm going to want to consider if I want to hit like the same price point as this house. On the inside, it looks like it's in nice condition, updated, maybe not totally modern. I see in my area, usually like we don't do these blonde color of floors anymore, but it looks nice. The kitchen's been updated. It has a nice big island with the navy blue island. That's kind of like a trendy thing right now. It's got some backsplash. Kind of looks like we have some industrial carpet in this room. The bathroom looks nice. Kitchen looks nice. Let's keep looking through these pictures. Nice big island, vaulted ceilings. So what I'm noticing here is this house on the interior is updated to an okay level. It's not completely modern on the interior, but it's nice and well cared for. The exterior is looking very modern. So that's just something I want to keep in mind as I'm thinking about what my rehab costs are going to be and how much I'm going to budget for that. It even seems like some of the bathrooms in this house haven't been updated for a while. Okay, so we kind of have this this weird combination of really updated on the outside and partially updated on the inside. And hopefully, in most cases, you can find some comps that are a better representation of what you want to do with your flip house. But we're going to do the best we can with the information we've got. So now that we have our ARV, we got an ARV of $750,000. Now I'm going to think about my cost to do the deal. So let me explain to you, when I say the cost to do the deal, what I am referring to. For me, this isn't going to include the cost that I incur to purchase the property. So when I go to my title company, I'm going to pay my title company some fees for their services. I'm also going to pay some recording fees to like have the county record the documents. I'm going to pay for a title insurance policy. So all of these things that come from purchasing the property are included in this price. I'm also going to include the cost that I think my money is going to cost me for the duration of owning the house. So I'm going to borrow money to purchase it. I'm going to borrow money to rehab it. I'm going to be paying points on that money. I'm going to be paying interest on that money for that time period. So it includes the cost of borrowing money. Now, on top of that, I'm also going to be paying to own the house, my holding costs. So I'll have utility costs like electricity and heat. I'm going to be paying taxes, which I'm going to take care of at the title company when I buy and sell the house. But those costs of owning the house are included in that. And then also the costs of selling the house. So I'm going to have those costs with the title company like before. And then I'm also going to consider my commissions that I'm going to pay to real estate agents. So historically, for me, the cost to do a deal is about 15% of the ARV. I know that because I have done enough houses and kept enough records that I see that pattern. If you haven't done enough to have a pattern yet to know what that is, there's a couple ways you can go about it. You can ask other rehabbers in your market how much they usually spend on things like that. You could also go out and find all of those numbers that I just listed off that are included in that and find out what those costs are. So maybe you call a title company or an attorney and you say, hey, if I had this house that I purchased for X amount and then sold for X amount, what could I expect to pay on the purchase side? What could I expect to pay on the sale side? You could even call the utility companies in your area and try to find out like what are kind of the ranges we see and what people are paying for city utilities or electricity to kind of get an idea of where you're going to be at. I would say for myself, the holding costs usually end up to be like less than 1%. The cost of money is a huge part of that. And the realtor commissions are a huge part of that. So just figure out what the cost to do the deal is for you. Now, my repairs are, I'm going to say they're $20 per square foot here. I'm assuming that this house doesn't need electrical work, plumbing work, foundation work, work on the roof, work on the HVAC. I'm assuming that those things are pretty good. And I'm just putting the house back together and putting the kitchen back together, the bathrooms back together and putting the trim on. So it's mainly cosmetic stuff. I am going to budget for changing out the windows just because of that other house that I looked at. And I'm going to budget some into to update the exterior of the house as well, just so that I can be more similar to that comp we looked at. So $68,000 is what I am going to budget for repairs. And then I want to budget my profit to be 10% of the ARV. So 75,000. Sometimes I do as low as like 30,000, but when I'm in this price range, 30,000 would be way too skinny for me as a profit. It would be too risky of a deal and not enough not enough return for the amount of risk I'm taking. $75,000 for that profit. So if I take my ARV, 750,000, I subtract my cost to do the deal, which is 112,000, subtract my repairs of 68,000, subtract my profit of 75,000, I get out that my maximum allowable offer is $495,000. This is the most that I can offer this seller for this house in order to be able to cover all of my costs and still come away with a profit of $75,000. Now let's go back to this listing and see what they are asking for it. They're asking for $607,000. So my offer is more than $100,000 lower than what they're asking for. So at their asking price, this is not a deal. But I am still going to give them an offer. I'm still going to go through with it. I went through the work of looking at the house, of comping the house, of analyzing the deals. I did my underwriting. I'm going to make them an offer. And I know that they have some sort of distress. They weren't able to finish the rehab. Maybe it was because of finances. Maybe it was because of some personal situations that came up, but for some reason they're not able to finish the project. So I'm going to see if there's some way I can come in and help them. So I'm going to call their listing agent and I'll have a conversation with them about this house, see what I can find out about the seller situation. What would they like to see in the offer the most? And we'll see if we can make this work at $495,000. This might be a little bit more of an advanced situation as well, but I'd mentioned to you earlier that a lot of my costs come from my money costs. So would it be possible for our sellers to seller finance this for us? If it is, and we're able to discuss that and negotiate that, that could potentially bring up my maximum allowable offer. And maybe we could find something in the middle ground that works for both of us. So as a recap, I went to the MLS. I searched for houses in the location that is in my buy box. So I looked for Davis County, and then I searched a keyword that I thought would indicate there's some distress. So I chose to search as is. You could search TLC, handyman special, sweat equity, needs work, motivated seller. And once I got a list of houses that have those keywords, I started looking through them. I picked one to look at a little bit deeper, found out about the house, what I could online. I got it comped. You can comp it yourself if you have those skills. You could also get a real estate agent to help you comp it. Once I got it comped, I know my ARV. I subtract my cost to do the deal. I subtract my cost to repair it. I subtract my profit, and that gives me my maximum allowable offer. Now comes the most important part, is I have to take that information and go have a conversation and actually make an offer. I will never get an offer accepted if I never make an offer. So I'm going to go have a conversation with that real estate agent. I'm going to find out what I can about the seller's situation. I'm going to find out if there are different terms I can put in my offer to make it more appealing to them. But assuming that I'm going to have to go the traditional route of borrowing hard money and I don't get any seller financing, I'm going to offer $495,000 on this house. So I hope that helps. Get out there, get some leads, analyze those leads, and make some offers. Have a great day.